Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. In a stern warning to Pakistan, India tells Islamabad to temper down its rhetoric, says any misadventure will have painful consequences. India hopeful on maintaining ties with US with mutual respect and shared interests, asserts defense ties an important pillar of partnership. A massive cloud burst in Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar resulting in flash floods. Rescue operations underway. PM Modi expresses grief, assures every possible assistance. Ahead of Alaska meet, Russian President Putin hails Trump's efforts to find solution for Ukraine crisis. The Ministry of External Affairs briefed media on Thursday. In a stern warning to Pakistan, the External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal said that MEA has seen reports regarding a continuing pattern of reckless warmongering by Pakistani leadership and that Pakistan is well advised to temper its rhetoric as any misadventure will have painful consequences, as was demonstrated recently.
We have seen reports regarding a continuing pattern of reckless warmongering and hateful comments from Pakistani leadership against India. It is well known the known modus operandi of the Pakistani leadership to whip up anti-India rhetoric time and again to hide their own failures. Pakistan would be well advised to temper its rhetoric, as any misadventure will have painful consequences, as was demonstrated recently.
On the award by the Court of Arbitration under the Indus Waters Treaty, MEA spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal said that India has never accepted the legality, legitimacy or competence of the so-called Court of Arbitration.
India has never accepted the legality, legitimacy or competence of the so-called Court of Arbitration. Its pronouncements are therefore without jurisdiction, devoid of legal standing, and have no bearing on India's rights of utilization of waters. India also categorically rejects Pakistan's selective and misleading references to the so-called award. As reiterated in a press release of 27 June 2025, the Indus Waters Treaty stands in abeyance by a sovereign decision of the Government of India, taking in response to Pakistan's continued sponsorship of cross-border terrorism, including the barbaric Pahalgam attack.
Further, speaking on India-US defense ties, MEA spokesperson said that India-US defense partnership, underpinned by foundational defense agreements, is an important pillar of the bilateral partnership and that this robust cooperation has strengthened across all domains.
India and the United States share a comprehensive global strategic partnership anchored in shared interests, democratic values and robust people-to-people ties. This partnership has weathered several transitions and challenges, as we had said earlier as well. We remain focused on the substantive agenda that the two countries have committed to, and we hope that the relationship will continue to move forward based on mutual respect and shared interests.
Ahead of a key summit with US President Donald Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin has expressed optimism about potential agreements with the United States, particularly regarding Ukraine and nuclear arms control. In a meeting with top officials and representatives of Russia's leadership in Kremlin, Putin noted that US administration was making sincere efforts to resolve the conflict in Ukraine. Putin said that negotiations with the US were aimed at long-term implications for global peace and security. Putin's remarks come as US President Donald Trump issued a stark warning to Russian President, threatening severe consequences if Moscow obstructs peace in Ukraine. Trump did not specify what the consequences could be, but hinted that punitive measures, possibly economic sanctions, could follow if their meeting on Friday fails to produce results. Putin and Trump are due to meet in Alaska, the first US-Russian summit since 2021, and will focus on ending the conflict in Ukraine. Trump stressed that the talks would serve as a stepping stone for a possible second meeting, this time involving Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Trump did not provide a time frame for a second meeting.
If Vladimir Putin does not agree to stop the war after your meeting on Friday?
Yes, they will. Yeah.
What will the consequences
there will be
be?
consequences.
Sanctions, tariffs?
There will be, I don't have to say, there will be very severe consequences.
Russia, however, has maintained its stance on the conflict since June 2024, with President Putin demanding the full withdrawal of Kyiv's forces from key Ukrainian regions and the abandonment of its NATO ambitions. Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov said that President Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump will discuss the huge untapped potential for Russia-US economic ties, as well as the prospects for ending the Ukraine conflict when they meet in Alaska on Friday. Ushakov told reporters that the summit would start at 19:30 GMT, with the two leaders meeting one-on-one, accompanied only by translators. Kremlin also said that both leaders will hold a joint press conference after their one-on-one meet. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer welcomed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in London on Thursday. Zelensky, who was in Germany on Wednesday, has been working with European leaders to press Trump not to allow Putin to carve up Ukraine's territory at the Alaska summit. European leaders and Ukrainian President Zelensky spoke with Trump in a last-ditch call hosted by Germany to lay out red lines ahead of the Alaska meeting. Zelensky said he warned Trump that the Russian leader was bluffing about his intentions of ending the war. Now, the latest in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. 3 people were injured in a drone strike by Ukraine between late Wednesday and early Thursday. Dozens of drones were fired in Russia's southern regions, including an oil refinery. The drone struck a car in Russia's Belgorod region, setting it on fire. As a result, all public places in the region are closed and companies have been asked to allow staff to work from homes. In the Volgograd region, the debris from the strike caused oil products to spill and the refinery caught fire. The Ukrainian military on Thursday confirmed that its drones hit the Russian refinery. Another 13 people were injured in a Ukrainian drone strike on a residential building in Russia's Rostov-on-Don. Tensions flare in northwest Washington's U Street corridor Wednesday night as protesters clashed with law enforcement at a police checkpoint. Homeland Security agents, who are part of President Donald Trump's aggressive crime crackdown, faced violent chants from residents. Protesters, who were waving signs reading "ICE ahead," urged drivers to avoid the checkpoint, citing risks of stops for minor infractions like broken taillights. The crowd cheered as officers stowed a vehicle, closing the checkpoint before 11 p.m. Donald Trump's takeover, which has been enabled by the Home Rule Act, followed his Monday deployment of 800 National Guard troops, despite city data showing a sharp decline in violent crime since 2023, highlighting a contentious federal intervention in the capital. US President Donald Trump called on his fellow Republicans in Congress to pass a crime bill extending the 30-day limit on federal police control in Washington. Trump added that the crime-related legislation would initially pertain to the nation's capital. However, it could be used as a model for other U.S. cities. Trump said that if Congress does not pass an extension, he can declare a national emergency in order to extend the 30-day limit.
National emergency, we can do it without Congress, but we expect to be to Congress, before Congress, very quickly. And again, we think the Democrats will not do anything to stop crime, but we think the Republicans will do it almost unanimously. So we're going to need a crime bill that we're going to be putting in, and it's going to pertain initially to D.C. It's almost, we're going to use it as a very positive example. And we're going to be asking for extensions on that, long-term extensions, because you can't have 30 days.
A social media video on Wednesday captured immigration and customs enforcement agents arresting a person in Washington, D.C. and an ICE helicopter hovering over a national mall. The footage surfaced a day after 800 National Guard troops arrived at D.C.'s Guard headquarters deployed by President Trump to combat crime. Democrats labeled the move political theater, warning other cities could face similar federal interventions. Despite Trump's claims of rampant crime, while D.C. crime data showed violent crime at historic lows since the 2023 spike. The deployment, part of Trump's takeover under the Home Rule Act, has sparked debate, with Democrats citing declining crime rates and questioning the necessity of such aggressive federal action. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. President Draupadi Murmu to address the nation on the eve of 79th Independence Day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lead the Independence Day celebrations from the iconic Red Fort in Delhi. And in line with India's Independence Day 2025 celebrations, the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign saw enthusiastic participation across the country.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. A massive cloud burst on Thursday triggered a flash flood in the area of Kishtwar, Jammu and Kashmir. The annual yatra to the Machel Mata shrine has been suspended due to the floods. Rescue teams have been deployed and efforts are underway to provide all possible assistance, including medical management and potential airlifting of injured individuals via helicopter, though weather conditions are a concern. Prime Minister Narendra Modi took to social media site X and expressed grief over the incident. He wrote, "My thoughts and prayers are with all those affected by the cloudburst and flooding in Kishtwar, Jammu and Kashmir. The situation is being monitored closely. Rescue and relief operations are underway. Every possible assistance will be provided to those in need." Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh assured that damage assessment is underway. Additional rescue teams are finding it difficult to reach the site of the cloudburst, yet they are trying despite all the constraints. SDRF and NDRF support is being mobilized.
There has been a massive cloudburst in the area which he represents, which also happens to be possibly the route of the very popular Machel Yatra, which takes place over there during this part of the year. And the cloudburst is of a massive scale, which could possibly lead to a substantial casualty, which is not yet been worked out. As immediately we got in touch with the district administration, and the district administration was also at a loss because it had taken everybody by surprise. They have already started moving towards the site, because the site is also difficult as far as the topography and the geographical situation and geographical location is.
President Draupadi Murmu will address the nation on the eve of 79th Independence Day. The address will be broadcast from 1900 hours IST on the entire national network of All India Radio and telecast over all channels of Doordarshan in Hindi, followed by the English version. Broadcast of the address in Hindi and English on Doordarshan will be followed by broadcast in regional languages by regional channels of Doordarshan. All India Radio will broadcast regional language versions at 21:30 hours IST on its respective regional networks. The nation will celebrate the 79th Independence Day on August 15 with Prime Minister Narendra Modi leading the celebrations from the iconic Red Fort in Delhi. The Prime Minister will hoist the national flag and address the nation from the ramparts of the iconic monument. As the nation is making giant strides towards realizing the government's vision of Viksit Bharat by 2047, The theme of this year's celebrations is Naya Bharat. The celebrations will serve as a platform to commemorate the continuing rise of a prosperous, secure and bold Naya Bharat and provide renewed power to surge further ahead on the path to progress. The success of Operation Sindoor will be celebrated during the Independence Day celebrations this year, and approximately 5,000 special guests from different walks of life have been invited to witness the celebrations at Red Fort this year. Over 1,500 people from various states, union territories, dressed in traditional attire have also been invited to witness the grand ceremony. As part of India's Independence Day 2025 celebrations, the Har Ghar Tiranga Yatra received enthusiastic participation nationwide. In New Delhi, the traffic police held a bike rally actively promoting the campaign through rallies, school visits and patriotic programs. A Tiranga rally was organized in Udhampur, Jammu and Kashmir ahead of the Independence Day, featuring a 2-kilometer long national flag with the aim of promoting unity and national pride. Spirit of patriotism soared high in altitude meadows of JK's in Baderva as a tribal nomadic population took out Tiranga Yatra and proudly installed tricolors on their mud houses as part of Har Ghar Tiranga campaign. In Mayurbhanj district of Odisha, administration organized a 200 feet long Tiranga rally to promote national pride and unity ahead of the 79th Independence Day. Flags were distributed across colleges, schools and Anganwadi centers, encouraging every household to hoist the tricolor. "30 meritorious students from tribal communities of Andaman and Nicobar Island interacted with the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in New Delhi on Thursday. Underlining the importance of human values, the Defence Minister asked the students to remain rooted to their values. He also urged them to face every challenge with confidence and without fear. The Minister offered sweets to the students as a token of affection, while the students presented him with a traditional handcrafted souvenir from local tribal artisans of the islands. The interaction of the students with the minister is part of Arohan Dweep to Delhi, a 7-day national integration tour organized by the Andaman and Nicobar Command. It aims to provide exposure to the youth from remote island communities to India's rich cultural heritage, modern infrastructure and academic opportunities. These students will also witness the Independence Day celebrations at Red Fort on August 15, 2025. As India celebrates 79 years of independence on August 15th, the country also marks 6 years of the Jal Jeevan Mission. The mission's main aim, delivering clean drinking water to more than 150 million households in just a few years, has improved health, empowered communities and unlocked countless dreams. In a post on micro-blogging site X, Prime Minister Narendra Modi praised the Jal Jeevan Mission for ensuring better healthcare, especially promoting Nari Shakti or women's empowerment. And in Bangladesh, 8 police personnel, including 2 sub-inspectors, have been suspended for alleged negligence during the fatal mob beating of 2 Hindu men in Rangpur. Ruplal Das and his son-in-law Pradeep Das were beaten to death by a mob who suspected them of theft on the Taraganj Kazirat road in Botola around 9:30 p.m. according to Daily Sun. Eyewitnesses alleged that the incident happened in the presence of the police personnel. Based on the testimony of locals, 8 police personnel were suspended. A 3-member team has been formed to investigate the incident, said Abu Saim, Superintendent of Police, Rangpur. Iraq and Syria have agreed to study the potential reactivation of the Banias pipeline to transport Iraqi oil through Syrian territory. The decision emerged during talks in Baghdad between Hayyan Abdul Ghani al-Sawad, Iraq's Deputy Prime Minister for Energy Affairs and Minister of Oil, and Syria's Minister of Energy, Mohammad Bashir. The 2 sides agreed to form a joint committee to assess the condition of the pipeline and determine the feasibility of resuming exports. Reviving the Kirkuk-Banias pipeline could provide Iraq with an alternative route to Mediterranean markets, and for Syria, it could generate critical revenue to support reconstruction of its war-torn economy and energy sector. And on to sport updates now. Paris Saint-Germain secured their 5th trophy of 2025 by defeating Tottenham 4-3 in a penalty shootout at the UEFA Super Cup in Italy on Wednesday. PSG mounted a remarkable comeback, scoring 2 late goals to force penalties before clinching victory in the annual match between Champions League and Europa League winners. The match seemed to be going Tottenham's way when they established a 2-0 lead early in the second half through goals from their defenders. Mickey van de Ven opened the scoring in 39th minute. Newly appointed Tottenham captain Christian Romero doubled the lead in the 48th minute with a header. PSG showed remarkable resilience in the closing stages. Lee Kang-in brought them back onto the game with a powerful low shot from the edge of the area in the 85th minute. Gonzalo Ramos then forced the match into penalties with a dramatic equalizer. Indian Super League side FC Goa edged out Oman's Al Seeb club by 2-1 scoreline in the preliminary stage of the AFC Champions League 2 at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in Goa. With this win, FC Goa qualified for AFC Champions League 2 group stage. Al Seeb club created a few chances early in the game, but the FC Goa defensive line, led by Sandesh Chingan, stood strong to absorb the initial pressure. Dejan Dragic and Javier Severio scored for FC Goa as they managed to keep out some spirited attacks from Al Seeb towards the end of both the halves. Goa will now discover their group stage opponents on Friday. Defending champions Yannick Sinner and Aryna Sabalenka stormed into the quarterfinals of Cincinnati Open with commanding straight set wins despite rain delays. Sinner, fresh off his Wimbledon triumph, outlasted Adrian Manarino 6-4, 7-6, extending his hard-court streak to 24 matches. He next faces Canadian sensation Felix Auger-Aliassime, who passed over France's Benjamin Bonji 6-4, 6-3. Sabalenka, after a gritty battle with Raducanu earlier, dispatched Jessica Bozas Manario 6-1, 7-5, notching her 50th win of the season. She now prepares for a blockbuster clash with the 9th seed Kazakh Elena Rybakina, who upset the Australian Open champion Madison Keys in 3 sets thriller 6-7, 6-4, 6-2. Dr. Bay Pace, 1972 Munich Olympics hockey bronze medalist and father of tennis great Leander Pace, died early Thursday after a long illness at a local hospital. He was 80 and is survived by his wife, son and daughter. Dr. Pace was a rare mix of medical skill and sporting talent. He was born in 1945 in Goa, an energetic centre half. His career overlapped with 1975 World Cup winning captain Ajit Pal Singh. He started playing hockey in school and college. While still a medical student, he earned a place in the Indian team. He made his international debut at the Hamburg International Cup in 1966. He also played for top clubs like Mohun Bagan and East Bengal. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.